just like your cousin Anderson, you
Yes.
celebrated a milestone
We are not
birthday.
really cousins. I mean, I would happily
Wait,
be a
are
cousin.
our birthdays in the same? Are you
No,
Capricorn?
no, I'm a crazy Gemini. So.
Okay.
No, I was just teasing.
But you just turned 40.
I did, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, 40.
How did you celebrate? Did you have a big disco dance party?
Nothing. I thought I was going to do something big, because I actually believe you should celebrate your birthday.
Oh, really?
I do. I think it's kind of a big thing to another year. No? You guys like that?
I love a milestone
I
birthday.
really do, actually. You know, it's not, you know. So anyway, but no, I didn't. I just had dinner with some friends, and that was it. Actually, it was really mellow.
You must be exhausted, because right now, I mean, you have the new film American Sniper out, but you're also on Broadway right now in The Elephant Man.
Yeah, doing The Elephant Man, yeah.
Do you get nervous to perform on stage?
You know, I don't anymore. Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
You did, though.
I remember I did a play called 3 Days of Rain 8 years ago, or 7 years on Broadway, and I was a mess before I went on. I lost like 17 pounds during rehearsal. It was like...
Wow.
But no, this time I'm not, actually. I actually...
You've done this play before. I mean,
I did it, yeah. I did it when I was in grad school. I did it here in New York City, and then I did it at Williamstown. And I should say we all did it. It's the same group that was at Williamstown. And no, I love him so much, and the character.
What is that character? What
There's this
is the
guy named
connection?
Joseph Merrick.
Yes,
he lived in the
course.
late 1800s in London, and he was horribly afflicted. There was a movie made of it that David Lynch did in 1980. Did you ever see that movie?
Yeah.
The Elephant Man, yeah. And it was actually the reason I wanted to become an actor was that movie. It really floored me. And then I just learned about the guy, and he was an incredible human being. And then Bernard Pomerantz, this guy, wrote a play in 1980. They did it in the same theater. David Bowie did it in 1980.
I actually saw it.
You did, that's right. You said that, yeah. And when you were a kid, right?
Yeah.
And then so we were lucky enough to do it in the same theater now.
Wow.
Yeah, it's incredible.
And so do famous, because I think, you know, I've read so much about this play and your performance in it, and people just love you in this play. Do you have a lot of your famous Hollywood friends that come to see
My
you?
famous Hollywood friends?
Yes, your famous Hollywood friends. Those big stars that you hang out with.
Well, I mean, De Niro did come. Robert De Niro did come. Yeah, that
do
was
you
a big
know
deal.
he's going to be in the
I
audience
like
ahead
to
of
know
time?
who's going to come.
You do?
Yeah, actually, I do. I feel like it gives me a lot of energy. I love to know. Some people don't like to know.
Yeah, we have a friend who, Sarah, who does not like to know.
No, I
wanna
love it.
know.
Actually, it really gives me juice. Actually, as a matter of fact, when De Niro came, I was so worried because he's the best actor that's ever lived, and I wanted to make sure that he didn't catch me acting. And so one of the rules you learn about, you know, especially being in theater, and I was so quiet when I did it because I just didn't want him to think. And I thought I was so sort of present and just talking to the other actors, and then afterwards I saw him. He was very kind backstage, but then I saw him later in the lobby of a hotel, and he sort of came up to me and he was like, I was like, hey, Bob, hey, how's it going? I was, couldn't hear you. Couldn't hear you. And I said, what? I said, what do you mean? Oh, the play? What you mean you couldn't hear? What do you mean? I just, you know, the reviewers are coming next week, and I don't know, maybe I was. Where were you sitting? About row H, and yeah, maybe you want to mic it, or I don't know. And I remember he goes like this. He's like, and your mouth is like here, so like, and it's pointing to the back behind us. So maybe you want to turn. I don't know. But that's it. He goes like this. And he goes like this. That's it. That's all. That's it. Oh, so the only thing is you couldn't hear me.
No problem.
Outside of that, the play was amazing. But you know what? But the truth is, and I'm so glad he did say it because he was right, and there was a dead spot in the theater there, and then I'm much louder now.
when you do that one specific scene.
So now Clint Eastwood directed American Sniper. Has he come to see
He
it?
came too, yeah.
Okay,
These
what
guys
did
got
he
to
say?
break my stones. Yeah, no, you won't even believe this. So Clint comes, and I was so excited because I've gotten to know him from doing American Sniper, and I love him so much. He's such a great guy. The first thing he does, I like come back, and he's sort of coming up the stairs, and he does the Elephant Man for me. He literally starts walking and doing it. He's like, and I was like, what? I was like, is he making fun of me? And he kept trying to. If you see the play, there's like this sort of contortion thing I do, and he was like mimicking it. You know. And then I got that it was out of sort of joy. That's at least how I interpreted it.
I couldn't hear you, punk.
And we have to take a commercial break, but that has to actually be so physically grueling to contort your body like that on stage for that amount of time.
Yeah. It is, but you know what?
I just wanted your affirmative on
No,
that.
it's true, but actually, for some reason, I'm okay. I feel sort of loose.
After a while, you stop thinking.
Yeah, and I think it's also by the merit of having done it for so long.
Right.
You know, yeah.
Right.
Film American Sniper. You play Chris Kyle,
Yeah.
a very famous Navy SEAL sniper. It's really an incredible story. It's not. I mean, it's a war film, but it's also really a story about the families that are left behind and the relationship between Chris Kyle and his wife. Tara.
Yeah, I mean, glad you said that. Yeah, that was sort of one of the main focuses for us telling the story, was to actually show that it's not just about the soldiers, but the families at home and what they have to deal with. And Chris was such a charismatic, imposing, complicated human being, and it was so ripe for cinema. And we just thought it was the perfect story to tell that would be appetizing for an audience, but at the same time be able to be related by all people in armed services.
He's a legendary Navy SEAL.
Yeah, he's the most kills of anybody in the history of the
Most
military
kills,
as a
right?
Navy SEAL sniper. Yeah, and he was horribly murdered at home after he already had finished his 4 tours and was honorably discharged. And we actually were going to make the movie with him. I was going to make it with him, and then he was killed.
He was killed trying to help another service member.
He actually, one of the ways he started, because he was physically fine, he just decided to take care of his family and leave the SEALs, and so he started to help vets. And in one way that he tried to help vets, he would go to the shooting range with them, and then one of the vets he took killed him with his own weapon, and he and his friend.
Yeah.
So it was awful. In February 2nd, 2013, 2 days before after we handed in the script, actually.
And his wife Taya, who you
it was
know
amazing.
she's really carrying on his legacy.
Yeah, we're actually going to go to Walter Reed next week. And,
that'll be incredible.
Yeah.
You had permission. I mean, you guys had a close relationship. It's got to be hard playing a real person and knowing, the wife of the real person and
Yeah, and not only that, the children and his parents and his brother and all the people that are characters in the movie. Yeah, it's a massive responsibility, Anderson. Yeah, I mean, and an honor, quite frankly, that Clint and I both felt. And we went to Midlothian, Texas, which is where he's from, and sat down with everybody like 8 months before we shot. And it was really something.
How did Clint get involved with this project? Did you, take
Chris
it to him?
actually said that his favorite, the guy to direct his movie, would be Clint Eastwood, which is, and it initially wasn't him, and then he was reading it recreationally, the autobiography, while he was shooting Jersey Boys, and I called him on a Friday, and he said, let me think about it. On Monday, he said, call me Monday, and then he said, let's make it.
We've had a lot of actors here that love to work with Clint Eastwood because the shooting process is so
fast.
Exacting and fast.
Yeah.
Like one take and he gets it and you move on. Is
Yeah.
that true?
I mean, he definitely is not. He definitely just, if he has it, he moves on. But if he doesn't, he's not gonna. But if you don't come, he's not gonna try to sort of bring you through it. I mean, if you don't show up ready to go, you're really. It's not going to be a good.
I understand there was one point where he really got in your face or kept.
Well, I actually, because I've done 2 movies with David O. Russell, who I love, and I actually love when a director's close, and all the sniping sequences. It's very sort of intimate with the camera coming in, and Clint actually reminded me a lot of Chris Kyle, the character, very sort of imposing individuals, but actually a very softness inside and a levity, and I felt a connection between who I was playing and Clint, so I always loved him to be close. So a lot of those sniping scenes. He sort of had his Panama Jack hat on, and his because we were in Morocco, and his sun cream, and I was just ask him to stand and just sort of help me, and it was actually a beautiful thing. Yeah. But I think his crew was sort of like, "What are you doing? You're telling Clint to what?" Clint, can you just say, "Yeah, hold on, let me just down here." And he's like, "All right, you see the guy, and all right, don't shoot him, okay?"
I love this. You're getting the full range of De Niro through Clint Eastwood.
There we go.
You have a lot of people who whisper in your life.
Yeah, there's a lot of whisperers.
That's true.